I am writing this to vent and get advice on how to move forward and cope with my divorce after 9 years together, 5 years marriage. I have a 2-year-old son who I will be raising on top of my part-time job. I am okay financially living based on my means, however, it is very hard to concentrate on my job during these turbulent weeks. I have a great family on my side who are very involved with my son and happy to keep him during my work. On her side, she has a little good family but some good supportive friends. Here's a synopsis of the last 3 weeks of my life. 3 weeks ago, my wife attempted suicide. I had no idea she was feeling so depressed about being a mother until this happened. She had never attempted suicide before, but she was diagnosed with depression 2 years ago. This was an absolute shock for me. I was emotionally destroyed for the week she was in the psych ward waiting to be released. She was the full-time mother, and I was the full-time worker, now downsized to part-time so I could spend more time with my son/wife. Downsizing to part-time was planned before the attempt. After she was released from the psych ward, we had some deep talks about what happened and why. She was feeling like she had no help from me, and was resentful towards our child and me as a result, feeling like she has no life, and is constrained by the baby. I did everything I could to set a path to recovery for our marriage, told her I would do whatever it took and whatever she needed, and I did start taking the baby much more often to give her free time/space like she asked. This went on for a little less than a week. Then yesterday, I tried to have another discussion about where we want our lives to go from here. This is where the truth pours out from her. She tells me she doesn't love me anymore, and that she hasn't loved me for a long time. She tells me she doesn't want to be a mother anymore, and she doesn't want to be with me. I told her that if she feels that way despite me trying to comfort and change for her any way she wants, then we need to go our separate ways. She packed up and left for a friend's house. This morning I reached out to her telling her I still want our relationship to work, and I will still do whatever it takes to make it work. She tells me she can't force herself to love me, but that we will talk about it over dinner. We meet up for dinner and she reiterates that she doesn't love me and she doesn't feel like she can love me, because of how much I hurt her in the past 2 years since my child was born by not helping her out enough with the baby. She even said things as cold as having a baby was the worst decision I ever made. I love my son more than anything. This broke my heart unlike anything else. She told me there's no way she could love me again and nothing I do can change it. At that point, due to the emotional roller coaster I'd been going through the last 3 weeks, I finally just accepted what she was saying as true and told her, we will just have to make the best of a bad situation and be civil about it. I asked if I could have full custody of the child with an agreed upon visitation for her at my house in order to keep the child from going back and forth. She agreed to this and said she still wants to be in the baby's life despite telling me she doesn't want to be a mom anymore. We were civil. I felt confident and relieved that there was no more chasing the false hope that we could get back together. I got my son from my parents' house, went home, put him to bed, and found myself sobbing again alone in my office. It hurts that after not seeing our son for days, she doesn't even bother to ask how he is doing. She also barely seemed to care about him during her recovery at the psych ward. I felt a hope once again that there may just be something I can do to fix this. I still felt that she may still love me. I called her again. I felt so defeated, but I called her again. I ask if there's anything I could possibly do to make this work. She again tells me there is not, and that she doesn't want to be married to me anymore, but does want to be in our son's life still. She has agreed to give me full legal custody with the agreement that she be able to have visitation with him at my house from time to time. Her words were twice a week, but I somewhat doubt she will even want that. With my long depressing story out of the way, I have some questions for the other single dads out there who have gone through/going through a situation like mine. I don't have anyone in my life with this kind of experience who I can talk to. How do you accept the marriage is really over, even when they're telling you straight to your face they don't love you and don't want to be with you anymore? It's so hard for me to accept that reality. I have fleeting moments of acceptance, but then I fall back into asking her if we can make it work again, making me feel pathetic and defeated every time. How do you allow the mother to continue to be in the child's life and remain civil? She said wants us to remain friends. She wants us to spend time together with our son and go out and do things, but the thought of it is gut-wrenching to me because it feels like we are just pretending for a short time to have the relationship she decided to end. Note: I am going to schedule therapy for myself tomorrow. I understand I can't overcome these feelings alone. We had discussed couples therapy before yesterday, but she no longer wants it. I want to remain civil with her, but at the same time have a degree of separation so I can move on. Update. One of the main emotional issues I'm dealing with is the possibility that she has been cheating with one or both of her closest friends. It's a weird situation, so bear with me. My STBX, soon-to-be ex, has been friends with a married couple. Let's call them Bob and Jane. My wife is bisexual and has had a sexual experience with Jane with my permission years ago. They have always teased/flirted with each other after that, but have assured me that nothing else has happened beyond that one time. Kind of hard for me to believe. We attempted a threesome, myself, STBX, and Jane. However, Jane was not into me, just my STBX. Bob is aware of the one-time sex between STBX and Jane, and as far as I know, he's cool with it. My STBX has also been very close to Bob, having many encounters with him I was uncomfortable with and spoke up about. She has gotten drunk alone with him and confessed her feelings, which I was totally unaware of for months afterward. She breastfed my son, but was way too relaxed around Bob with no bra, etc. She told me they used to wrestle to teach her self-defense techniques. When we would go to the beach, they were very hands-on, throwing each other around in the water, etc. He rubbed her shoulders in front of me once when she was crying. She spent as many nights up there as possible, with it becoming a weekly occurrence, and now that we are separated, she has moved in with Bob and Jane, and she seems happier than ever. Bob and Jane are basically pampering her and doing everything for her during the divorce process. STBX always assured me she had no feelings toward Bob, and he was like a brother to her. Bob has always been a good person to me, and has made several attempts to hang out with me/be my friend, though I've rejected him because I'm an introvert, and we just don't have much in common. He's even cordial to me during the separation. He takes her side, though, of course. I've known the relationship between the three was unnatural for a long time, but I always gave her the benefit of the doubt. What I've always feared is that the threesome we attempted that Jane didn't want has been going on behind my back, but between STBX, Bob, and Jane. She insists to this date that Bob is like a brother to her, and there are no feelings between them. I told her if she moves on with anyone else I can accept that, but if she did anything with Bob I would never want to see her again because I always gave her the benefit of the doubt. So I just want some opinions, though I know you all don't have the full story. Does this seem like a cheating scenario to you? Either way, she doesn't love me and I've accepted that, but the thought of her cheating on me with a person I trusted and moving in with the person plagues me. Any tips on how to accept a partner has moved on, despite any hurtful things they may have done/will do now that we're separated? I ideally want to get to a point where she can do the most hurtful thing I can think of, and it doesn't even faze me emotionally. Hope that all makes sense. I'm still recovering from this blindside divorce, and my thoughts aren't always so clear. I will be reading/replying to comments as much as possible, so feel free to ask questions to clarify. In the early stages of our separation now, having a lot of pain still, but feeling more confident. However, I'm still having trouble understanding how she fell out of love with me and dropped me so easily. After 9 years together and 5 married, she seems to have moved on from myself so quickly. I've accepted it's over and our marriage needs to end, but I still can't wrap my head around how she dropped me like a rock after 9 years. I find myself calling her from time to time just to ask questions like, "Are you honest with me still?" It doesn't matter anymore because we are over and we both know it, but I just want to know, have you done anything with that male friend of yours that I don't know about? Do you ever miss me? Answer: no. Just like I thought. As if she would give me an honest answer about anything anyway. I even have a question prepped for her tomorrow when she comes to see our son. I just want to know, when did you stop loving me? What caused it? I don't even believe her answers, yet I keep asking questions. She has not reached out, but twice since we separated. Wants to ask if she can see our son, and wants to ask about her friend's money. I have reached out many times, mostly business, but at times to just ask questions that make me feel pathetic. I feel pathetic because I keep reaching out to her to ask questions, yet she is content with not talking to me except when absolutely necessary. It amazes me that she hasn't asked me any questions and hasn't cared one bit since the separation. Seems chipper every time I call her, yet I'm still struggling so badly at times. Partly venting, but I would like some tips on how to make yourself stop reaching out to the STBX that has fully moved on. How can I make myself stop wanting to accept for purely business? Update. An update to this from yesterday. We were together yesterday co-parenting our son. She pulled out a cigarette and said, "I know you won't like this, but I've been smoking twice a day for over a year." I had always thought she might be smoking because I would smell it on her breath in times, but I would always give her the benefit of the doubt. She would lie and even go as far as to gaslight me about it dozens of times over the past year. I was very angry as I have major trust issues which she is and was aware of. I've cried on her shoulder a few months ago about the stress of being lied to by my compulsive liar father, but little did I know she was lying just the same and even going as far to gaslight me about it. "It must be the neighbor's fireplace you're smelling. No, those are your mom's cigarettes. She just left them, and I'm taking them back to her. They prescribe nicotine gum to everyone. I just canceled it because I don't need it." Love is blind, guys. Just goes to show how good she really is at lying, and if she is capable of lying about something that's small but right under my nose for over a year, I can only imagine what else she is lying about. She has shown herself to be a slick liar, so I am now going with my gut feeling on pretty much everything about her. I'm just now realizing it, and I feel like an idiot, but at least now I know how good she is at lying. I feel awakened but also defeated and made a fool. The silver lining is, it makes it a lot easier for me to distance myself from her. Update. My wife cheated and monkey branched with a poly-married couple 2 months ago. I'm still dealing with intense depression and anger, mood swings, as well as a deep loneliness. What hurts so much is the unfairness. Sure, they say rebound relationships don't last, and it's usually true. But sometimes they do last. But one thing's for certain. I'm alone, and she is not. She has a shoulder to cry on when she's sad. She has someone to watch movies with and go to the park with. She has someone to eat with every day. She has someone to fulfill her sexual desires. She has someone to cuddle up to at night. That's what hurts. We're taught through stories and movies that the person who backstabs will have karma inflicted on them and will regret their decisions, but real life doesn't always work that way. The cheater has a safety net, whereas my reward for loyalty is loneliness and indescribable pain. Update. My wife for months has agreed she doesn't want alimony, but after a disagreement she's going all out because she's spiteful. So I'm wondering, since I'm unemployed and have been caring for our kid full-time since we separated 3 months ago, will she be awarded maintenance? I was working full-time while she was sick during our 5-year marriage. Hey all, in the divorce process 4 months out. The divorce process has been so up and down. In the beginning I was trying to be as civil as possible, and so was she. Then I found out about her affair with our mutual friends and she filed a false EPO on me, so crap slapped the fan. Now we're in a custody battle over our kid. I wanted her to have supervised visitation only due to her mental illness, which she agreed to, then she backed out of. Now I'm just trying to make sure she doesn't move my kid in with her APs, which she has said multiple times she wants to do. We currently have split custody, but I get 4 days a week to her 3, and it's stated in the temporary agreement that she can't take our kid around her partners, which are specifically named, and she has to reside at her family member's home and not the AP's. So, it's pretty favorable to me and I can live with it. However, it's only temporary. I'm afraid once the divorce finalizes, and we get a final custody agreement, they will say, well, she's done fine with her side of the agreement, so we will take these restrictions off, and then of course the first thing she will do is move our kid in with her APs. She went full on damage control / fighting dirty mode when we took it to court. She's putting on the best mom ever face for 3 days to save face, then living with her duck buddy APs the other 4 when she doesn't have our kid. My lawyer told me it's best to save the ammo for the main battle, which is the divorce finalization, so we did not fight in court for the temporary agreement, we just both agreed to sign with the stipulation that she can't take our kid around APs. So, I've been biting my tongue for months, and now she has our kid 3 days a week. It kills me how she's putting on the best mom ever face 3 days a week, then ducks around with her APs the other 4, while everyone thinks she's a struggling single mom trying her best. People who are close to me and my family know the situation, but her family and friends only know her side, the fake side. I want so badly to let everyone know the truth about how she broke apart our family to move in with her 2 APs. I want everyone to know how she said she didn't want our son. But I don't know the best way to do it, and also I'm afraid it will bite me in court. Is there any chance it could hurt me in court to be broadcasting the truth about what happened? Should I slash? Is it worth it? We have reached the end of the story. Let's listen to some of the comments by our Reddit listeners. Comment 1. There seems to be separate issues here. The first is what is in the best interest of the child. You said she didn't want to be a mother, yet here she is being a mother 3 days a week. It's in the best interest of your child for their mother to be in their life. I guess she could be faking all of this to win the divorce, but is she really that evil to use the child as a pawn to hurt you further? Maybe so, but it seems you're stuck in the desire to hurt her back, so I would seriously consider what is in the best interest of your child and what is the best legal approach. OP reply. The problem is she has a history of child misuse. I know she hasn't changed, and she's just wearing the best mom ever face in the public eye. And yes, she is using the child against me. I never intended to keep her away from our child, only to make sure she sees him in a healthy and safe way, which would be with a supervisor, preferably, or at least not with her polyamorous affair partners. Comment 2. Listen to your lawyer. And as much as you're probably raging inside about the whole thing, you two are getting divorced. It doesn't exactly matter who she wants to spend her 4 days with as long as she is good to your kid. Let her put on her best mom face for her 3 days, it's good for the kid.